Hey guys, Mish here, and for today's video I wanted to talk about something a little bit more personal, combined of course with science, because pretty much everything personal in my life also involves science somehow. You might remember that I did a video called How to Get Clear Skin a couple months ago, and following all the tips in that video kept my skin clear pretty much all the time for a long time. But a couple months ago I went off the pill, and now my hormones are completely out of whack and I'm getting horrible acne about 1 or 2 weeks a month. So I just wanted to share what has been working for me and other scientifically supported solutions that don't get talked about, surprisingly. Naturally, whenever I have a problem, I research it obsessively for the science-based solutions, so I wanted to share those with you. If you're a fellow acne sufferer, you might wonder, are my breakouts hormonal or are they related to something else? Because it's really hard to tell. But with hormonal acne, a really important clue is if it seems to crop up at the same times every month around your period. So like before your period, especially in like the week or two before and during. And I should start by saying this video is more relevant for women because generally when we talk about hormonal acne, we're talking about us poor females dealing with that. But I think this might actually be able to apply to men too, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. And the current consensus seems to be that hormonal acne is caused by a relative increase in testosterone compared to your other hormones. Because even though testosterone is generally thought of as a male hormone, women actually make it too. And it's just in lower quantities compared to our estrogen and progesterone, but we do still have testosterone. And so for that 1 or 2 weeks a month before and during our periods, our testosterone is actually higher compared to our other hormones, because our estrogen and progesterone are relatively lower. And testosterone causes acne because it causes you to produce more sebum, which is the oily stuff on your skin that ends up clogging and creating those fun little mountains we call acne. And testosterone increases your inflammation and just causes breakouts, or at least that's what the science has shown. And so after researching that, my next idea was, well, if testosterone is causing the acne, how can we fix that? And so I started looking up ways to lower testosterone naturally. And after finding some studies, it seems like there's 4 pretty clear things that you can do that most likely lower your testosterone and seem to work in studies. So I'll just start with the one that I have been using, or I guess the 2 that I have been using that I saw results with really fast, and that is flaxseed in ground form. In some studies was shown to lower testosterone a lot just by taking 30 grams a day, I think. And you probably don't need to take that much because studies always use really dramatic amounts because they really want to get an effect. And just to translate into baking values that we Americans use, it seems that 30 grams of ground flaxseed is about 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup. So that is a lot, which of course is still good for you if you really want to give it a whole try, but I'm sure just 1 tablespoon will probably still get you an effect. And either way, flaxseed is really great because it has omega-3s and lignans and fiber, and it's just overall great for you. And some ways to get more flaxseed in your diet is you can put it in smoothies, sprinkle it over oatmeal. It has a very, very mild taste, so you probably won't notice it because I sure don't in my smoothies and oatmeal. And then I found this amazing recipe for flaxseed cookies, and they taste just like chocolate chip cookies, but instead of flour, you use ground flaxseed. I can't explain why they're so good, but they are very high in fat though, so that's kind of like my fat source for the day is one of those cookies, but I'll put the recipe below. And just for some notes, I used almond butter, or half almond butter and half peanut butter, and I subbed chocolate chips for raisins because I didn't have raisins and I wanted chocolate chip cookies. Number 2 on the list, and either as effective as flaxseed or even more effective than flaxseed, is spearmint tea. And there are 2 kinds of mint that are generally found in teas and food, and that's peppermint and spearmint. And most studies have been done on spearmint, so I can only give you assurances about that, but I have a feeling that peppermint also works. It has been shown that drinking 2 cups of spearmint tea per day significantly reduces testosterone in women. And you can, once again, probably get this effect with a smaller dose. So play around and see what works for you. And third on my list of natural ways to get rid of hormonal acne is soy products, because you may have heard that soy has phytoestrogens, which are a plant version of estrogen that may or may not mimic estrogen in the body. I think we're not at a total scientific consensus on that one, but there seems to be some evidence that it can help lower testosterone and possibly raise estrogen. Not as clear as spearmint or flax, but it's still worth a try, especially if you're vegan like me. You probably can easily get soy in your diet because, for example, I adore soy milk, and a lot of fake meats use soy, and yeah, so a lot of options there. Worth giving it a try in case it could help, I think. And lastly, and probably not at all surprising if you've been following my channel for any length of time, is that a low-fat diet also seems to help with this. I honestly wasn't even looking for that. I was just reading the studies I mentioned before, and one of them mentioned that they combined the flaxseed therapy with a low-fat diet and tested the differences, and a low-fat diet seems like it might also help lower testosterone in women, but doesn't seem to have that much of an effect in men, so don't be concerned if you're male and you want to get your testosterone higher. So that's kind of a weird juxtaposition in that a low-fat diet can actually help men with low testosterone raise it, but can help women with high testosterone lower it. I'll have to look for separate studies on that to share with you guys, but that's just my fourth possibility for helping with your hormonal acne. And as for my personal experience with them, I started getting horrific breakouts about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, really bad. I had a quarter-sized thing right here. I get cystic acne, so it's the kind that are really deep and never come to a head and just lurk there, being incredibly painful, creating mountains on my face. It's horrible. It showed no sign of getting better, and in fact was getting worse day by day, until I started eating those flax cookies, and I ate a lot of flax cookies, because they're really good also. But so I probably did get about a quarter cup of flax a day, which is the 4 tablespoons that I mentioned before. And I started having 1 to 2 cups of peppermint tea a day, and then switched to spearmint once I found it in grocery stores, and within 2 days, it had completely stopped hurting, completely stopped growing, and in fact started to shrink, which is totally unusual for me because when I've been getting my hormonal acne lately, it tends to get worse for about a week and a half and then just stay there. And it's a horrible entirety for weeks to months. It was pretty bad, but it seems like flax and spearmint is actually helping me a lot. And for reference, in case some of you are like I was a week ago and had never bought spearmint tea before, here is the tea I am currently using. There's a couple other kinds I saw in the store, but this one was the cheapest. So it's just got peppermint and spearmint and some tarragon, I think. Yeah, but it's really good. It seems to work, but I think any spearmint will be fine, and maybe even peppermint if you already have that around. And since it's been so hot here, what I do is I make iced spearmint tea, and then I sort of turn that into a latte with soy milk, and it's really good. Definitely worth giving it a try because peppermint and spearmint have both been shown to do a lot of other great stuff, similar to flax. This is the flax I've been using. Is this Bob's Red Mill? Yeah. So I always use Bob's Red Mill just because they're everywhere, but you can also get bulk or other brands. Don't think it matters. Just ground flaxseed meal. It can be gold or brown, and I recommend keeping it in the fridge or the freezer unless you go through it really quickly, which kudos to you if you do, but mine usually lasts me a month or 2. Anyways, those are my tips, and I really hope they can help you if you're struggling with hormonal acne, because I know how horrifying it is and how much one can come to dread at certain times of the month, knowing that it might be a little bit more embarrassing to go out and about. If you end up trying any of these, or you've tried any of them in the past, please let me know how it went for you. I'm really curious to hear your experiences. Thanks so much for watching.